Hello, everybody. Welcome to Mining Now. We are at CIM 23 in Montreal, and the day is just getting going. And our next guest is ASDR. Well, actually, the guest is Marco Rebuli, and he is with ASDR. He's their director and with business development. I first met this company back in 2016 at CIM in Vancouver. It's great to have them on as a guest. Welcome to the show, Marco.
All right. Thanks, Rory. Pleasure to be here. We're pretty excited about this. It's a great show. So
Excellent.
looking forward to have a good chat.
Yeah, one of the biggest events apparently at CIM this year. So with the exhibitors and everything. So maybe just initially, if you could just do a bit of an overview of the services that ASDR provides and your background as well.
Yeah, sure. I'm actually a process engineer or chemical engineer, worked in various sectors from oil and gas through to mining, and I've been doing business development for quite a few years now. And ASDR is an interesting story. So ASDR is quite unique in the sense it's a diversified services company that really built its model around the mining ecosystem.
Right.
And so we have we have four divisions, a combination of project management and engineering, water treatment, manufacturing, and industrial services. But what we did over the years is synergize and bring together the strengths of those four divisions to be able to deliver, for example, it allows us to be vertically integrated, right? So we can design, fabricate, install, start up, operate, so we can pretty much handle a project from A to Z. And I think over and above that, one thing that really distinguishes us is, given that those internal capabilities and vertical integration, I mean, we're not scared to take on EPC and turnkey projects, whether it's for water treatment plants or certain mining packages.
Okay, excellent. And so you've actually with the history of ASDR, you said you got into like the products and that. So you actually have some products that you offer to the mining operations then?
Yeah, so there's a variety. We do have some technology that complements our services. But I would say, and we also work with third parties, of course.
Right. Okay. Yeah, maybe let's jump into like for the water treatment and like the evolution of that over the years. Maybe you can touch on that a bit.
I think the evolution of ASDR. So when I came on board 3 years ago, I think ASDR, and that was the challenge. I came from large engineering construction company. We worked there for 20 years. And so the goal is they said, well, we have this unique expertise up in Abitibi there. Mm-hmm. And we said, well, how do we export that, right? Because we think we have a lot of, and just marketing and so forth wasn't their strength. And so we came on board with a lot of other, I think, senior people that came on board. I think that was key. Brought in people from I won't mention other companies, but whether it was water treatment, large engineering companies, suppliers, and we really helped to transform the company.
Okay.
And over the last three and some years, we tripled our revenues.
Really?
And we're a pretty large company now compared to where we were. We also opened an office in Montreal to support our engineering, and we grew that from 4 people to over 45 in a spare period of 3 years. We do a lot of engineering and both for mining projects and water treatment. And now we've been pretty successful. Like I said, our employees grew by 40%.
Really?
Now our goal is to continue that and continue also, I guess we'll talk about after, our success in Ontario and other parts of the country.
Yeah, actually, you're kind of touching on that. So what really drove that growth? Like that's a staggering amount going from 4 to 45.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I think a lot of it is, like I said, the people we brought in. So we brought in strong execution team. Mm-hmm. And we went, for example, both in mining and in water treatment, going from small projects, or a lot of capital maintenance work we're specialized in, and to take on large projects. So we won a $100 million project. We just about completed, and more, that's sort of what we're doing. We can take on projects that are in the $10 to $100 million range.
Right.
And especially like I said, in Ontario, we pretty much finished one now. We just won another mandate. And Ontario's been great for us. Over 50% of our revenues now are in Ontario, and we're looking to set up shop there, maybe look at some acquisitions. So we're really happy of what we've achieved there, and just keep on driving that.
Okay, that's excellent. So when did that strategy get in? Like, was that part of why you moved over to ASDR? Was that talked about when you first joined?
Yeah, definitely. I think I remember our CEO said, okay, well, I want to do like 5 $20 million projects CapEx wise a year.
Yeah.
It's just in certain cases, like I said, when it's a certain package, we can actually do those on lump sum or turnkey.
Okay.
And that was the general vision. And we just, like I said, we've been growing from there. We know all our operational procedures. Everything's really been ramped up. Also, I would say 80% of our revenues come from tier one
Okay.
companies. So,
Okay.
we work in accordance with best practices. I think that's a key element too.
Yes.
But I mean, we work everywhere from juniors through to tier one there, obviously. But yeah.
Let's talk about our heavy industry tour brought to you by Savannah Equipment, supplying mining equipment worldwide, and Corporate Traveler Canada, helping companies travel the globe simpler, faster, easier. We are heading to events across North America, Africa, and Australia, and filming episodes on location. Email us at info@crownsman.com to be part of Crownsman's Heavy Industry World Tour. Sustainable mining of natural resources is a cornerstone for our standard of living and prosperity. It plays a critical role in construction, power generation, and commodities. Mined metals and minerals contribute to green technologies like wind turbines, solar panels, and electric vehicles. As part of the effort to counter climate change, more and more mined metals and minerals are explored for extracted, transported, and processed according to quality control processes that deliver safe and high-quality products. Anton Par provides a wide array of instruments which contribute to every step of this development and production chain while playing a positive, sustainable, and responsible economic role in society. Visit anton-par.com to learn more. Anton Par, together we measure the world. Okay, so let's give a special thank you to one of our longest sponsors of the show, Savannah Equipment. And I'm actually going to hand it over to Jared so that he can give you a little bit more info on Savannah Equipment.
Yeah, thank you. So I mean, people see them as sponsors, so they'll ask me, kind of who they are, what they are, and just trying to understand the scope of the company. So Savannah Equipment is a mining supply company, and they're delivering on the whole equipment supply chain. So everything from the ore processing to underground mining, open pit. They're in hard rock and placer operations. And what they're doing is they're sourcing equipment from all over the world and then delivering it all over the world. Now, they are a Canadian company, so they're based there, but, let's say, they're selling entire ore processing plants. So there might be a plant down in Latin America, and there's a new mine that needs that plant in Africa or somewhere in the U.S., so they're facilitating that entire transactions. But they're also delivering, an individual conveyor or a concentrator or a pump package or just an electrical package. So it really is the whole gambit of the mining equipment supply chain.
Oh, that's great then. Well, then you definitely have to check them out if you're looking for mining equipment. Visit them at savannahEquipment.com, where you will find more equipment every day. SafeSite has developed a suite of innovative technologies focused on step change improvements that impacts vertical mining, shaft measurement, underground mapping and survey, mine rescue, and emergency response underground. SafeSite solutions introduce new possibilities in approach and efficiency while keeping every site safer. SafeSite solutions deliver valuable data that can quickly be turned into actionable decision data that allows effective and safe operation. Digital guide alignment will reduce shaft maintenance costs, underground mapping drone technology that removes shadows for 100% accurate reconciliation, and mine rescue drones that extend the reach and range of responders on surface and underground. Visit safesitexp.com for more info.
When you do work with like a tier one, so say it's in water treatment, do you then offer? Is there opportunities to offer ongoing support then as well?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, we have operators. There's certain sites up north where we just signed a contract now to supply 20 operators that go up there on a rotational basis, of course.
Oh, okay.
So some of them, especially when we had our modular units, right, we'd have people on the road supporting those whenever we needed technical support. Sometimes we'd lend the operator as part of our package deal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. Can you get into that a little bit as well? So, like
Yeah.
in those services, so there's modular units, which I don't know if people think about a lot for these mining applications, because water treatment facilities, if you go on site, like lots of times there's like these giant plants put in, right?
Yeah, well, it's usually a combination, right? So when you either you have seasonal treatment or you have during like construction or whatnot, you'll have surface water treatment or small flow rates. They'll typically go with what we have, containerized units.
Okay.
And then obviously when you're in operations or if it's a large plant that they need to treat something more sophisticated, larger volumes, then we go towards permanent plants is basically what we do.
Is there an evolution sometimes at these sites as well where they bring in like the modulars and then they end up implementing like the full system?
Yeah, or sometimes, like I said, sometimes they'll rent them because they think it's temporary. And then as they
Okay.
get better knowledge of their water flow rates and the chemistry in the water there, whether it's acid mine drainage or whatnot,
Yep.
then they need to ramp up. So either we provide additional units or at some point they'll say either, we rent them, sometimes they'll buy them, and sometimes they can actually transition to a permanent plant. But usually it's a little more rare to transition to a permanent plant because they have a good idea of the modeling. But if
Okay.
they do a major expansion, yeah, like the project where we're on, they've had even their permanent plant there for quite a few years, and now they're increasing capacity, so they need more treatment,
So then they can bring in those,
more water treatment capacity. In that
right,
case, it's a permanent one, but sometimes it's a combination.
right. And I guess once you do start with on that project, I would imagine they want to keep coming back after, like, to ASDR to expand. Do you see that a lot with your clients as well?
Yeah, well, obviously, I think like in any companies, mining is not a big, there's not a lot of players, so repeat business is what it's all about.
Yep.
Whether it's in water treatment, whether it's, like I said, we have 4 divisions, right? So one
Yeah.
division is project management and engineering. They're mainly specialized, I would say, in underground design and a lot of infrastructure, so both underground and surface infrastructure.
Oh, okay.
And then, like I said, fabrication, we use it a lot more and more to support our EPC projects. They can build tanks, we can manufacture walkways, railings, a whole chutes, like just about anything.
Actually, yeah. The
Variety, I'd say.
for the in the manufacturing side too. So you come in, you start developing on the project management, the engineering. How many products? Like, do you have a bunch of product lines then as well?
Well, yeah, I guess can we call them product lines? Like I said, so we have 2. I'd say the real product lines are more in water treatment.
Yeah.
So in water treatment, we have all these water treatment modules that we manufacture ourselves, and we also have this new product I'll talk to you a little bit about a little later. But the manufacturing, actually, the shop was actually built there to do all the maintenance for Canadian Malartic's 36 240-ton trucks.
Okay.
So all the truck boxes, we've been doing that for over 10 years. And we
Okay.
just got extended basically to the end of mine life.
Really?
And, yeah, so we had rubber liners on there that was quite unique because of the proximity to the town of Malartic.
Okay.
And so we've been, talking to some other projects there that have similar types of setups in Ontario to see if maybe we can replicate that there. But that's been a very successful endeavor. We have a lot of specialized welders and mechanics and so forth that do that. We have the largest paint shop actually in Quebec or
Okay.
north of Montreal to handle all of that. And like I said, so now as we transition to EPCs, well, they can build tanks, we can pre-assemble pipe spools, whatever it may be, whatever facilitates construction, right? So when
Right.
when we take on those EPC projects, in addition to our water treatment expertise, we add in all our discipline engineers that can do work there. And then same thing, installation in certain cases and startup and whatnot.
At OIM Consulting, they drive profitability by building your supervisory capability. They equip the people who carry your culture, engage your teams, and ensure that daily targets are achieved. If you want measurable operational results, visit oimconsulting.com. Analyze, improve, sustain. With Fender Dunlop, you know you are getting the best conveyor belting in the market. That's because they ensure the integrity of their conveyor belting by monitoring each step of the manufacturing process in their North American facilities. Focused attention is given to each belting order to guarantee that they produce a belt that will assist the customer in reducing operation costs, maximizing uptime, and improving revenue. Visit FenderDunlopAmericas.com to learn more. DMF Filtration is the ideal partner in solid liquid separation. Headquartered and manufacturing facilities in Italy with over 6,000 installations all over the world, DMF Filtration takes you beyond the boundaries of innovation thanks to the wide range of filter press models and thickeners available within the product portfolio. The launch of Domino, the largest filter press in the world, and AIDA, the system tutor providing real-time connection with the company, are only the latest achievements for this group, which is committed to continuous improvement. You can visit them at dmffiltration.com to learn more.
You talk like there's a lot of engineering firms. It seems very unique because you're actually like starting, you develop it, you design it, and then you can actually like offer a bunch of the
we won't
product.
obviously we won't do a full EPC on a plant, but like I
Yep.
said, certain packages is what we can easily do. And right now supply chain is always an issue, and we had that on some projects we just did. So if you can fabricate your own tanks, you cut down on the amount of procurement, right?
Right.
The amount of suppliers on the project, simplifies your schedule, simplifies the risk on delivery dates and so
Right.
forth. And that's what we were able to do. We descoped, for example, during COVID, some things had to be fabricated in the U.S. and getting it through customs, was
Right.
causing delays and
Right.
risking the schedule. So that's it. So we took a lot of that stuff on ourselves and built it in our shops. We even built modular. We don't typically do that, but we even built modular electrical rooms, MCCs, labs, and so forth, and containerized, right, just to safeguard the schedule. So it gives us that
Right.
flexibility that I would say an engineering company doesn't have.
Yeah.
And that's what makes us unique, actually, in the industry.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And I actually want to jump into the 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 commercialization of Eco Mud. This
Yep.
is another. Could you get into that product as
Yeah,
well?
yeah, that's a quite very interesting. It's a sustainable development project, really, that we started with a mining company. And what they wanted to do is they said, well, we do all this drilling, right? And
Yeah.
I go, well, no one really takes care of the water, recycles the water, or takes care of the cuttings and the sludge that comes out of there. And they really wanted something cutting edge, where not only does the unit separate the sludge and water, so the water is 90% recirculated, and you can get the sludge up to 60 to 70% dryness, which is easy to manage.
Okay.
And then on top of that, that unit actually had the capability of treating the water to discharge in accordance to ministry standards, let's say, right?
Okay.
Typical. But a lot of clients said, hey, we don't need to go that far. So what we did is we did a modular, built a modular version of that, a little simpler, which just
Your
takes care of
expertise.
recycling, takes care of the recycling, takes care of, again, of the mud dryness. If you need to treat a little bit, we can add some products in there. But the beauty is, it's heli-portable. And in addition to that, we've had clients now, we've actually installed it underground. We're both in Sudbury and in Val d'Or. So the clients wanted to add an extra step
Yep.
to dry up their mud a little more, because it was difficult
So they're
to
taking
manage.
these. They're actually taking these underground.
Yeah. So not
Okay.
only do we have them in drilling, we also have them in underground operations now. So that's been a great product. And we signed on with MBI Global.
Okay.
And they're sort of our distributor worldwide outside.
Oh,
Yeah,
fantastic.
so that was a great deal. So that was we commercialized this last year. So really proud of that.
Okay, so that's basically just getting going on the distribution side of it.
Yeah, and like I said, we have the big permanent units. We have two in place, one at Canadian Malartic, I believe, and the other one at El Dorado.
Okay.
And the modular ones, like I said, we're getting more and more orders and interest for them. So that's been, great spin-off.
With all this, is innovation a huge part of what you're doing at ASDR? Like, is that what you're doing, like, on an ongoing basis as well, with all these, like, the design and projects?
Yeah, and I think especially with, there's conventional technology and water treatment and whatnot, we're always innovating. But I think what we've also looked at is what kind of digital technologies can we start bringing in. So we're still in the early days for telemetry and some data analysis for our units and even permanent water treatment plants. But I think there's two interesting projects that we're working on. One is for the treatment of ammonia in water.
Okay.
So it's a different approach. It's using ozone. That's a little innovative. And the other thing that's quite interesting, which is maybe a little different than our conventional services. So we have a strong health and safety group.
Okay.
And one of the persons in the group there used to work a lot out west in the oil sands. And they brought in this digital, so it's a digital confined space monitoring technology.
Okay.
And so that helps it increases safety. It reduces the amount of personnel you need on site. As we know, everyone's stretched for workforce. And so we started deploying that, and we're looking to deploy that, like I said, across Eastern Canada. And so far, we've already been, I wouldn't call them pilot projects, but we've done it on 3-4 projects, and everyone's been quite happy with that.
So on that safety side, it's been like one of our hosts, Roy Slack. He's a big, he's an innovator in that space as well. What exactly? Just to explain, I actually don't. How does that apply to when you have, like, these water treatment facilities and everything?
Yeah, no, it's not related. Like I said,
Oh, it's not?
No, that's related to our industrial services division. They're specialized in shutdown
Got
work,
it.
right?
Got it.
And so we always wanted to innovate and say, well, instead of just sending people to site,
Yeah.
how can we add value to what we do? So what we
Right.
added to that is we added health and safety people, and we added planning people. So
Okay.
in certain cases, we work with the client to plan their shutdowns, not just for us, but all the contractors on site. We plan it from a work standpoint. We plan it from a health and safety standpoint. So we validate,
Okay.
what tools, how are we going to schedule this? How do we optimize the productivity on site? Who needs training? And then on top of that, like we said, we're looking at what other technologies can we use. So we came up with this. And again, it's another add-on to our value proposition
Right.
in the industrial services.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. The another thing. Yeah, you also touched on. I just realized you touched on, like, the truck box maintenance and, like, wear lines as well. So is that specifically for mining too?
Yeah, definitely. That's
Okay.
like I said, the truck boxes was a contract we had with Canadian Malartic that got extended, like I said, until end of mine life, which is 2029. And we had both some rubber and some fused alloy steel liners.
Okay.
We're actually distributing an Australian product called ArcoPlate, which is quite innovative. It's a little less known here in Canada, but it's been around 25 years in Australia.
Oh, really?
So it's just something now we're starting to get out. I know we're a little diversified there, but that's part of our fabrication group.
Yeah.
And they're quite big on that.
Oh, okay, excellent. So you brought that in to use here
Yeah,
from Australia.
absolutely, yeah.
Okay,
And
fascinating.
it's very specialized, especially for wear more than impact.
Right.
But in some cases, it's a bit of a premium product. It's not something you'll apply, across all your equipment, but in high wear areas and very specialized area where you need something that goes over and above what the standard products do in industry. That's sort of where we've seen the greatest benefits.
Okay. And then and you've mentioned it too as well. So you're specializing in, like, you're doing open pit and underground as well.
Yeah,
Well,
although I would say,
okay.
like I said, from an engineering standpoint, we have more expertise with underground. Like, we have a lot more underground specialists, design, and even for surface and underground infrastructure, yeah, they're a little more. We have more expertise in the underground part.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always challenging when you're working through
Yeah,
that.
that's right. And I would say, I think the other thing that you were talking about, water treatment and how so one thing we did add over the last year, we made an acquisition out in New Brunswick, a company called Eco Technologies.
Oh, okay.
And they were quite known and working across Canada. They're specialized in dredging and and environmental remediation. So we
Okay.
already had a dredging team,
Yeah.
but their equipment and their expertise really goes beyond that, and so that gives us a footprint in the Maritimes. And like I said, they've been called upon to dredge ponds, and their equipment allows them to go into very dense, right, almost muddy waters.
Yeah.
And so right now with the what's it called, the various equipment we can do everything from standard dredging of ponds to high what's it called, high flow rate, or more complex. This does both. And so that's quite interesting. They can even do ice breaking, actually. In some
really?
ways. That's what they do in the off season.
Oh, okay.
Right, because obviously most dredging is from sort of April, May up through to October, November, and then
Yeah.
in the winter time, early spring, that equipment's quite versatile. But that was a great add-on for us. Like I said, they've been present in BC. They've done a lot of work for tech.
Oh, yeah.
And we get called in a lot. We also have this geotube expertise, right? So by adding this, we can go from dredging. Our water treatment units do the conditioning. Then we put that off it in geotubes or other dewatering equipment. And we've been doing that for like 15, 20 years and had a lot of success with mining companies.
And that acquisition was last year, right?
That's right.
Oh, okay. So they're literally they're going in with the dredging, putting them in these ponds, and then starting to
Yeah,
process.
and I mean, we have both us and them. They've been at a lot of sites, like they do annual campaigns or they have multi-year agreements, and so we have a lot of great expertise there.
And then, of course, the ice breaking.
Yeah, that's sort of a side
Yeah.
sideline.
I also wanting to touch on to make sure we kind of touch on each of the segments as well. We've covered a lot in the manufacturing, the industrial services. Does that get into the like the truck boxes and that?
No, that's the one I talked about before. There, it's sort of shutdown maintenance. Their
Go.
main specialty
Okay.
is conveyors. But like I said, what we added on to that is what I was mentioning, the health and safety and the planning approach, right? Where we work with clients, especially the larger clients, and say, okay, how can you maximize productivity during your shutdowns? And some of them, companies grow quickly. They don't really have the time to sit down and plan it all out. So
Right.
that's something that's been really greatly appreciated.
In these projects, like, I imagine there's some really big challenges that you've had to overcome. Is there anyone that stands out that you kind of speak to that's been like a good example of like kind of fueling like the innovation and like kind of outside the box thinking?
Well, I think the one I was talking about before there, the big water treatment plant we did during COVID, we had to find different ways of delivering on things, whether it's simple things like, finding used equipment and validating that, but that is a simple thing. But
Yeah.
I think what I mentioned, all the modularization, right? So since we had the fab shops, we really sat down with the team and with our construction partner and say, okay, what is it here that we can modularize, whether it's containerized, whether it's something we can pre-assemble in our fab shop, so that when we get the site, we obviously, you have whatever you do on in your shop versus site, you have improved safety, quality control, and so forth. You're in a controlled environment. You're not impacted by the weather elements. So
Right.
I guess that's part of I'd say that's part of our strength. Innovation, no, I mean, the rest, we're up to par. We do a lot of laser scanning and things like that when we do engineering, especially we do a lot of brownfield work, capital maintenance.
Oh,
So
okay.
those are the things we're looking at. And going down the road, yeah, like I said, anything that's 4.0, like big data management, we're trying to get that in there and see what we can do. We have a few projects going on with MISA there, which is one of the outfits in Quebec that looks at innovation and new projects. So we're involved in
Oh,
that.
okay. Yep. Yep. Okay. Excellent. Yeah. So we've covered a lot in the scope for this. It's first time, so it's good to get that overview. The is there any like last kind of last points you really want to get out there for anybody in the mining that's watching this?
Yeah, I think, like I said, the company's grown a lot over the last 3 years. Some people knew us or maybe didn't know us or had a perception of where we were sometimes, right? It's like when you
Okay.
see,
Yeah.
I went to see family over in Europe last year, and somehow, you always remember people the way they were the last time you saw them.
Right.
And if you look at the evolution of the company over the last 3-4 years, it's really been, like I said, we tripled our revenues. We brought in a lot of senior personnel, and it really, not that we didn't have a good base. We had a very strong base. Like I said, it was just
Yeah.
a question of taking it to the next level and growing outside of the region. And I think, anyone who remembers us from maybe 3, 5, or 10 years ago,
Yeah.
I think it would be nice to have a sit down and bring them up to speed on what we can do for them these days and the value add that we can generate.
Yeah, so that's bringing on these experts from outside it's basically turbocharged.
Yeah,
what you're
that
able
and the
to
growth,
offer.
like I said, just even the vision that our CEO had 3 years ago. He said, okay, we've been around, the company's been around for 16 years now, so that already been around 12, 13 years, but
Yep.
it's not as if they said, okay, well, we're okay where we are. No, his
No.
vision, like I said, even when I came on board and for everyone, is okay, I want to go from this to be able to handle at least, $100 million worth of projects a year,
Yep.
as opposed to where we were. And I think, he's done a fantastic job of leading the team to get us there.
Outlining that must be it does when you have that clear vision, it must make it much easier to like understand where you're trying to get
Yeah,
to.
absolutely.
Especially even like you handle like on the marketing side.
Yeah.
Does it kind of crystallizes it, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that's the other thing I brought in. I mean, I came in business development, but over the years, I've done everything from engineering to strategy to
Yeah.
marketing, and in a global company. So it was an interesting challenge to come over to a smaller company and bring that expertise. And
Right.
of course, it's a little harder. You don't have the big machine behind you.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if there's one thing that's really amazed me is the passion of the team.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's really down to earth. We have a common vision. People work together. And then that's really our strength, I would say.
That's fantastic. I think that's a good place to wrap it up. Honestly,
Sure.
that's phenomenal. And yeah, thanks again for joining, and thank you everybody for watching this episode of Mining Now at CIM Montreal 23. I said that backwards, but that's okay. Please make sure you subscribe and share all the content, and yeah, check out ASDR and all the work they're doing. All the links will be in the show notes as well, including to like key people that you can connect with on LinkedIn. And yeah, get in touch with them, and we'll see you on the next episode of Mining Now.